For what it's worth, and it's worth a lot, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady rank first and second, respectively, in touchdown to interception ratio all time.
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers is first, Brady is second. They also, if they meet in the Super Bowl, would be the first ever quarterbacks to meet in a Super Bowl with multiple MVPs, to their credit, when they meet. So the question becomes, and again, I'll give credit where I heard it yesterday, it was on Michael Kay's show in New York, where they were talking about it. Would this be the greatest Super Bowl matchup of all time? And as I went through the list of all the Super Bowl matchups, it's amazing how many of them, Mike, feature two quarterbacks who are in the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, right.
I mean, maybe that shouldn't be a coincidence, or you shouldn't be surprised, because, great players wind up in these big games. But it's incredible to me how many of these Super Bowl games have matchups where both quarterbacks wound up in the Hall of Fame.
It really is. So I don't know if I would put them number one. Again, there's accomplishments, there's greatness. There are those that say Brady is the best of all time, the most accomplished of all time, but still keep Montana in front of him. Elway is universally thought to be in the top three, the worst top five. So an Elway-Montana matchup, again, that doesn't equal the MVPs. You start talking about Super Bowl wins. You have more there, right?
Yeah. Look, the game has changed. To just discount Terry Bradshaw and Roger Staubach from this conversation is doing them a disservice. Terry Bradshaw won 4 Super Bowls. Staubach won 2, and I believe played and started 3 others.
But I think what people do is they start to rank quarterbacks, and nobody is putting Terry Bradshaw and or Roger Staubach ahead of Joe Montana, John Elway, or Tom Brady all time, right?
Right.
So I think that's where a lot of people are going with this.
But is that recency bias, which is to say, do we put these guys ahead of those guys just because it came more recently? We've seen the game change. I mean,
I don't know.
What exactly is it that makes you watch Terry Bradshaw's whole career?
Yeah, you've seen the game change. You've been through a lot. Would you put Terry Bradshaw or Roger Staubach ahead of Tom Brady, Joe Montana, or John Elway? I wouldn't.
I mean, I wouldn't, but I wonder myself if you just reversed when they played, would we be saying the same thing in reverse? And I don't know the answer to that. Football was so different in the 70s.
It was.
Bradshaw was throwing to guys who, at the line of scrimmage, were just getting their blocks knocked off.
You're talking
above
55% completion was considered pretty good then.
I mean, they won everything. They never lost. The Steelers in that era never lost. Look, but I'm sidetracking myself. I think that when all is said and done, Rodgers is going to climb on this list.
Oh, I do as well. I think Brady is either already there in some people's minds, most accomplished ever, and will he be considered the best ever? He's already in that conversation. Rodgers has lost playoff games.
Yeah, he has.
No doubt about it. But, so is Peyton Manning.
Which side of 30 is Rodgers on right now? How old is Aaron Rodgers? Because he got a lot of time left. How far north? He's got a lot of time left. He's 33. All right, I take it back. He's older than I thought he was. Still, figure he's got 5 years left to be a top-level player. Mm-hmm. If he wins 1 or 2 more championships, then I think you're going to say this was the best ever. It may not be going into it. You're going to look back on it as.
I could see that. If he were to accomplish that, I could definitely see that.
Because, again, when Marino played Montana, Marino wasn't Marino.
No, it was not.
When Elway played Montana, Elway wasn't Elway. When Elway played Favre, Elway was Elway, and Favre was Favre.
Right.
And Favre gets left out of all this stuff because he only won 1 title and he threw a lot of picks.
Ton of interceptions.
He made a lot. He did a lot of things that made you pull your hair out. He's also got more MVPs than almost any of these guys. The quarterbacks with the most MVPs are Favre and Peyton Manning.
Right.
Right. I think that with some distance between them and everybody else. So I think that's going to be as good. That's going to be it right there. I think we're going to look back on this and say it was the best matchup.
But I think that's what we're going to say. We're going to look back on it. Going into it, I don't think I'm going to put them number one right now.
That said, and click on that one there. Rodgers in playoffs. Hembo just sent the number. Aaron Rodgers is one of 4 quarterbacks with a career passer rating of 100 in the playoffs. The others are Bart Starr, Kurt Warner, and Drew Brees. Starr won 5 championships. Warner won 1, Brees won 1. Rodgers, look, he's doing stuff. The distinction that Max made earlier is the right one to be making. He is by no means the most accomplished quarterback of all time, but he's doing stuff you've never seen anybody else do.
He can stand in the pocket and pass. He can move as well as anybody and pass, and he's as accurate as anybody on the move.
You were a defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question. If you're a player on Atlanta and you're waking up in the morning and you're doing what you always do, which is put Mike and Mike on the radio or the TV,
Sure you do.
or any of the other sports talk shows everywhere, and all anyone is doing is talking about how great Aaron Rodgers is. What thoughts are going through your mind?
I could care less what you're talking about.
Well, I would have thought the other way. Like, I want to shut all these people up, that it would even be more, not that you need more motivation to win an NFC championship game.
They listen and they hear it, but it has no effect on them.
None?
No, I mean, they're going to want to knock them around anyway. I don't think what we say is going to motivate them anymore to say, man, I really want to stop them. They really want to stop them.
Every time a team wins a championship, all we hear is, everyone said we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Everyone said he was too good.
Yeah.
Everyone said he was unbeatable. Don't you think you'll hear that? If Atlanta shuts down Aaron Rodgers, don't you think we'll hear those Atlanta players talking about how all last week all you guys did was talk about Aaron Rodgers?
Sure, but they see it. They see a reason why everybody's talking about Aaron Rodgers. They're watching it on tape every single day. So, I don't think it has much.
You don't want to shut the world up. You don't want to stun the world. Beat the unbeatable.
You always want to bond around that. Like when you go on the road, we want to shut the crowd up, shut the fans up. I think what they hear is the talk, and they say, boy, everybody's crowning Aaron Rodgers as the greatest quarterback of all time. Let's go knock him around a little bit.